Good morning. I'm inviting you to my messy desk to show you a little bit experimenting I'm doing with fold-out cards that pop. Since I'm doing this golden doodle book, I ended up printing some little teeny pictures when I did my 4x4s. So I have these extra pictures, and I thought in a photo album it might be fun to actually put photos in the fold-out part of a pop-out card. So I've retouched it a little bit. Because this paper is so thick, I decided to do my digital printing on just plain typing paper or printer paper, and I'm going to try that so it won't be as thick. The other thing I thought of was, rather than have a rectangular card, because the pages aren't really big in this album, I thought I would have a square card. So since the card, half of an 11-inch page is 5.5 by 4.25, I decided to make a 4.25-inch square for my card base. Now, it doesn't give a whole lot to adhere to, so I'm actually going to use my construction tape a bit. And because the paper is thin, I am just going to use my tape runner to put my paper on. I have never made cards with such thin paper, but I think it'll work. So I'm just putting this general print on top of my card for my cover, and I haven't decided which direction it's going to be, but this paper is sort of non-directional. And then I'm putting a light paper inside so that if I want, I can add a message. And I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch around because I made the paper 4x4. And this will be the bottom part, and I picked a darker print. Now, one nice thing about these digital prints is you can make the size of the print any size you want. Okay, now this is a typical size of the triangle, and what I've done is, I cut off, let's see, it's 2.5 by 5 inches. I left the 5 inches, and I even drew the 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and I did with the triangle like we've done before. But what I've done is I took off, if it was 2.5, I made it down to 2 1/4. So I'm just folding on all the score lines, and let's see, folding it in. It's my hardest part. Get that little diamond there in the middle. And this will be my extender. This is what will pop out. And because I took the 1/4 inch off, it's not a perfect triangle or perfectly square, but I don't think that'll matter. I'm going to glue this down, tacky glue, at the score line. Now, I did a very step-by-step one of this before, so I'm not trying to teach you everything about this card. I think the folding is the hardest part, and not going over the score line is the key. So I'm just gluing that triangle down on one side. Now, this can either open either direction. And then I'm putting glue on the other side and folding the card down. Now I'm going to put this under my mat so it'll dry for a second while I talk to you, and take out one I did as a sample. Now this is the normal size I use. It is 7.5 inch by 2.5. And because I'm using little 2x2 squares, I changed this up to 8.5, the whole width of a letter paper, so it's longer, but it's narrower, and that's why I did the other part small. Now all you do is fold this, and then we're going to attach it to our center piece. And I have an example of it here. So it can open with your pictures up straight, or it can open this way with your pictures that way. Since they're square, it really doesn't matter. So this is my little template. And if this glued long enough, we shall see. We will add this center piece. Now remember, it's just a 2 1/4 by 8 1/2 paper, folded. I scored it first, folded in squares. Where the other one that we've done before, and it's on my other sample video, is more rectangular. Okay, so I'm going to open my card and lay it flat. Not perfectly flat here. It looks a little crooked. After all that, I didn't glue it on very straight. There we go. Okay, so see if it works here. I'm going to add a little more glue under here. Since the paper is thin, I actually tore the paper a little bit, but it won't show on the finished card. Okay. Now this has a center fold. I think I'm going to let this set a little longer to make sure this is glued well. So what I think I'll do is show you on this one and then add another one. This one is 2 1/2 and I want it to be 2 1/4, so I'm just cutting off 1/8 of an inch on both sides. And I'm going to add this before I even do the diamonds there. So I'll open it up flat, find the center, put this in the center, so right where all those triangles end. And then all I have is this little dinky piece here to glue. But trust me, as you see in the sample, it does work. So I'll put some glue there and push it down. And on the other side, I'll lift it up. This was on the top. I'll do this at the bottom section. Now, I told you it was a very small amount I'm gluing. So I decided to turn it over and reinforce it with just a little bit of our construction tape. So this is where it's glued. I'll add some construction tape there. It won't show, it'll be on the back. And because that is such a small area, I think that'll hold it. So now when we fold this up, let's see. It's easier when it's attached, trust me. There we go. Now the trick is, will it fit in a half card? And if you check, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just, oh, it's 4 1/4, right? It just works. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll just finish. Then when we open it up, we'll be able to add our photos. So let's go back to our sample, see if that dried enough. And we'll add this piece. So it's flat now. I find the center. I fold back the piece. First I make sure the center is in the center of the corner. And this is where I'm going to put the glue, right at the top part here. Not going over the score lines. And I'll flip it over in a minute and put the black construction tape too. Especially since I'm not giving it long to dry in this sample video. So If I flip it over, I can see where it was. Take a little construction tape. One nice thing about this thin tape, you can hardly tell it's there. When you're using a black card base, of course. Okay. Now, let's see what happens when I fold it up. You have to train this a little bit. If I got my center cord, let's see. There we go. We made it. Okay, so now when we open it, we will have, it still is, needs a little bit more glue there. That triangle does not stick on the thin paper as well as it does the other. So I'll just add another dab of glue. That triangle. Okay, well that's drying. Let's add some photos. I think I want it to open sideways because the pages are longer than they're higher. And so I'll just add a little bit of adhesive. And I'll center my photos on. Now these aren't all golden doodles, you'll see. We have a little, I'm not quite sure what little Samson is called. I think he's a Shih Tzu or something like that. But I figure they're grandkids and they're dogs, so it all works together. So now we can add words, we can add sayings, we can add a poem, we can add anything we want. But we have 4 pictures on there. And let's see. Unlike me, I would advise you to take more time to let it dry. There we go. Folding it in, folding it down. Then I thought I would add just a cute little puppy on the top there, but he needs some color behind him, so I'll add a black layer. And this one is a puppy in a box, ready to be a present. And so you can even add a photo to the cover of your card. Now this card can be attached to your page, or it can go in one of your pockets. It'll be whatever your pleasure is. Okay, I want to make sure I get it upright. So this is going this way. So I'm going to put him right up top, I think. There we go. And there's our card. And we have a center one all ready to go into another card. And you can see how it holds well. Now if you made your black card first, like I did my sample, you could also decorate this with your colored paper after. But it is a nice way to add 5 more photos to your album. So have fun deciding what kind of tada cards you will make for your album. God bless. See you at class.